been here. Every single one of us has been in this meeting. Every single one of us has listened to Dr. Henderson, and every single one of us is sitting there right now going, I have no clue what's going on. This is all going over your head. That is okay. I think all three of us are up here to tell you that you will survive and nobody will die. It's going to be great. So I think we're going to write some contact info on the board, just in case you guys want to contact us and after this, and if you have more specific questions and stuff like that. So I'm going to do that while...
Sure. I think John said it right when he said like you will survive, because you really don't think you're going to survive for a little while, and there's just days where you're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to wake up tomorrow, but I promise you will. And I think the biggest thing that I learned is like everyone in this department and everyone on your cohort wants you to be successful, and so you just need to use your resources. And I know like I've texted Dr. Lee at 9 o'clock at night and said like, I have a question about this, and that's okay. Just like be willing to ask them or email or ask each other and ask your cooperating teacher, because everyone wants you to be successful. Like no one is trying to make you fail. I think you should also really put yourself out there in your school. I think in the fall it's a little bit harder because you're not there as much, but in the spring, for me, it was just like, I'm on a 4th grade team, so there's 5 other teachers in our team, and it was just the little things like, hey, can I go make copies for you? Or hey, can I do this? And just the little things like that to let them know that like you're there to help and you're a part of their team. And now, like, I don't know Sally, John's school difference, it's not elementary, but they made me feel so much like another teacher on their team. Just by the end of it, like faculty meetings everywhere, it was just like you were a part of that team, and I think that's because you have to put yourself out there and make yourself feel like you're a part of their team, because if you're timid, they're just going to be like, oh, she's a little shy,
That's
not
right.
like...
I made the mistake of calling all the older teachers at my school like Mr. something.
Yes.
But like those are my peers now. And so it's going to feel really strange even though they're like 35 years older than you and they've been a teacher and you've been a student your entire life. But you are, they are first name peers to you, unless like they're
maybe
super.
in I don't know, not elementary school really. I still call them Mrs.
Did you?
I called my mother first name, but because they told me to. Don't like walk up in there and be like, hey, what's up?
Oh, yeah.
And like start calling me by first name. But all my people were like, can you please stop calling me that?
But I think the more important point we're trying to make here is that this is a professional job, and you have to take this seriously, and 2, you have to fake it till you make it. You're gonna feel like you are gonna be that kid the entire time, and everybody's looking at you like you're just a kid in the classroom. But you're a teacher. I mean, this is like a real thing that you're doing now. It's exciting.
And they think you're a real teacher. They have like no clue. In high school, they probably have
clue or not.
And my kids like really think that I'm a teacher. Like in fact, they get confused as to why there's not a sub when I'm not there. Like they're literally like, why didn't we have a sub yesterday? You weren't here. So they like for real think you're a teacher, which is awesome. My other thing, which is like somewhat related but not really, you should always pick your clothes out and pack your lunch the night before, because the morning of is too late. And I'm not lying. Like all my stuff is laid out, and I'm not that kind of person. But when you have to leave at 6:15 in the morning, you don't have time to make a sandwich. So pack your lunch the night before.
So, who are secondaries? Guys, 8:45 is when school starts. It's so great. So I want to say a couple things. The first was, you're going to have some time in the fall, and you're going to have some time in January, and you're going to be like, this is the busiest time of my life. I'm taking all these classes. Everything's sort of shortened. I'm in class for multiple hours a day. This is so crazy. That's your break. That's when things are not crazy. Use that time to plan. And I know that sounds kind of scary and life is terrible, but it's not, and it's great. But what you have to do is you have to use that time wisely so that your life isn't more crazy when you get into the classroom. I don't know if you guys are like me, but planning forward, like Furman for me has just been like, what do I have to do for the next day? Let's get that done, check. And teaching is not like that at all. Teaching, you have to plan so far in advance. I don't know if I should, well, you have to plan so far in advance, but then don't expect your plans to go exactly as they are. Which is, I don't know. The main point of that is just be prepared for some long hours next year. The second thing I wanted to do is, with all that free time that you're going to have in the fall and in January, really try to iron out your teaching philosophies. One of the important wanted to try to understand what I was good at, and I wanted to try to understand what I was like, and I wanted to try to understand what theories or ideas I believed in and thought would be the most fruitful in the classroom. And that really helped me once I got into the classroom. Whereas if you don't beforehand, then you're kind of just floundering around. But once you kind of figure out those theories, sort of read some books, read some research. So like, I ended up getting really interested in motivation. Because that's a topic that I think applies to a lot of students in high school. Like, why am I doing this? Why does this matter? So one, it's important to present to them why this matters. But two, it's important to sort of understand the underlying motivation. So I read a bunch of books. I was kind of a big nerd about it, but that's what really interests me. So find what really interests you and find what you want to teach about that's outside of this sort of all the texts and things that you'll get from your firm and professors. And the final thing I want to say is experiment in your class. Don't go too crazy, but this is sort of like your practice run at teaching. This is a time when it is super okay to make mistakes. Obviously not big ones. We're not, saying go crazy. But if you want to try something new, talk to your firm professor about it. Talk to your cooperating teacher about it. Give something a go. I did a simulation this semester about climbing Mount Everest. What? That's weird. Why would we do that? But it turned out to be one of my most successful lessons that I did, and the kids got really into it, and they were like, we're totally going to go, Mr. Morrison. So yes. Not now. Not after earthquakes and things. But anyways. And then I guess my last thing is, like, you'll survive. You guys are going to be great. You're going to think it's crazy in the middle. I know that I was really tired in the middle, and I was like, can I do this? And at the end, I think, there's Dr. Thomas. I was talking to Dr. Thomas about it. I am exhausted. I was frustrated. I had days that I was just like, this is terrible, and I loved it. It was just my favorite. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything different. So that's what I want to leave you with.
Okay, I kind of want to go back a little bit to the beginning. So they kind of told you about, like, right now we're
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But I want you guys to know that this is seriously the best program. And I might be, like, on a high because we just finished today. But seriously, like, I never really understood how awesome it was until now, because all of our classes, like, we're up to date on, like, the latest everything with literacy and math. And, like, my school, I went to a professional development day, and they were learning about workshops, like reading and writing ones. So I was like, what? Like, that's all I knew. Like, why are you doing these other center things? Like, so really, like, your teachers are the best resource. We've been so prepared. And I just really want you to know you are prepared. Like, everything we've learned, like, you're going to do it. And I guess you have all the knowledge now, but the only step you're really adding is implementing it. Like, you know it. So that's really exciting. And I even went to a conference for Dr. DeYoung's class last semester, and some ed majors were presenting from a different school. And I remember all of us Furman teachers were like, what? Like, they chose them to do that? Like, we could totally do that, and we know so much more. Which sounds like cocky, but it's true. Like, you just know everything. Like, seriously, you really do. So trust that. Trust that for real. Okay, also I want to say where you've been placed is probably the most perfect placement for you, because I had no idea where I was. I'm Ellen Woodside. I don't know if anyone's okay. But like, they chose that school for me, and it was the best fit. I love my school. I can't imagine not being there. And I know all of my friends. You love yours, I'm sure, too. Like, everybody loves their school. We all kind of want to stay. So be excited about that, whether you know a lot about your school or nothing. Like, it's going to be great, a great fit for you, because they spend a lot of time doing that, and it works. Also, I wanted to say, stay close to your cohort. I think you guys are the row.
Rows, yeah.
Okay, you're the rows. So make a group me and talk to each other, because honestly, okay, second day
We're
I
like-
have to do that.
We're like best friends anyways. We don't
Okay,
need to
well, you're smaller, but like, we have to stay in touch that way. And really you should, because no one else really understands what you're going through. Everyone else still goes to Furman. You don't really go to Furman anymore. No one else knows what it's like to teach lessons. No one else knows what it's like to love kids so much that, like, that's all you talk about. Thankfully, my roommate did that. That was so helpful for me. But some days, like, you need to have people that are doing what you're doing to come back to and just talk and encourage each other and vent to each other and like, give each other ideas. You really need to do that, because I don't know what I would have done without that. And then another thing with the classroom is just really develop relationships with your kids. I had to go to my school in the fall because of my methods courses, and so I went to my classroom 2 mornings a week, and then I had a kindergarten placement there too, so I was there a lot. And I remember someone told us to do that last year, and I was like, oh, like I really don't want to leave Furman any more than I already am. And when you go here still, like you guys do, like it's really hard to imagine leaving and enjoying leaving, I guess. But do it, because my transition in the spring semester was a lot easier because I knew a ton of teachers. I knew kind of how everything worked. I knew how the copy machine worked, like just little things like that that are fun to learn. Like I learned in the fall. So that was really helpful. And then, oh yeah, back to developing relationships with your kids. They're the reason why we want to be teachers anyways. And it's so easy to get caught up in like the constructive feedback you're receiving and all the little things you have to remember to do all the time. And trying to balance like going to college and being an ed major, which like you don't really go to college anymore. And I would say like being willing to give up that college senior spring experience like makes it a lot easier, because then you're able, like I just stayed at school until 4 and just like I had stuff to do, and like I didn't rush back because like I needed to stay, and just like allowing myself to be free with that was good. But also like I ended up going to one of my kids' soccer games last weekend because he was like my little buddy, and we bonded over soccer earlier in the year. And like I was so sad to leave them because they taught me how to be a teacher more than I taught them anything, because you're practicing on them. So just be friends with them and they will love you and it'll make your experience so much better. So those are like my overall things. And then I have 2 like practical ones, sort of like McKinsey shared. I got there early. When you start teaching full-time or when you're close to it, probably around like March, like late February, I would start to get there at like 7:15, which is so early because my school is like really far away. But get there early because then you can have all your stuff laid out. Like your teacher isn't there yet. I like to get there like way before my teacher, so then I felt prepared with my stuff and had all my stuff pulled up for the day. And then when she came, if we had to talk about something or I had questions about a lesson or I forgot to print something, like you have time to do that. So definitely get there early, even though it sounds terrible. And then in terms of the work that you have for Furman on top of the student teaching, like just do it as assigned.
Not student teaching.
Sorry, you're practicum. Okay, I call it that anyways. It's a practicum.
Or you know it's practical.
Yeah, it's a practicum. Okay. The work that you have for Furman, just do it as it's assigned because it's not hard. The work is not hard. And I hate school, I'm telling you, it's not hard. But it's a lot. And so it's a lot of reflecting and writing, and you just want to have time to do that. And your teachers just want to know you're like caring and paying attention. So I would just really do that as it comes, and like that community profile project that people talk about a lot, it's not that bad. Like it's fun, and you learn a lot about your school, and it gets you more excited, but just do it as it comes, because it really will sneak up on you, and you can't do it the night before. I think that's pretty much all, but please like text me, call me, email us, whatever, because I didn't really do that. I wanted to try to do it on my own, but don't. Like, we just did it, and we finished, and like, it was so fun. It was the best thing about Furman for me, and so please ask us anything. And do you guys have any questions?
Hopes, fears, confusing things we said.
Yeah.
Do you think we all sound like crazy people that have just done this terrible thing?
No, just one of you.
Just one.
Your kids will love you, and they make it so worth it. Like, there are a lot of assignments that you do for Furman, and I think that's something I really didn't know until, like, first day of senior block, and I was like, what? This is, like, I thought we were just hanging out. Like, I thought I was at my school the whole time. But you should know that the reason you're doing all those things is to be a better teacher, and I had to constantly remind myself of that. Like, I'm doing this for my kids, I'm doing this for my kids, I'm doing this for my kids, because when you put yourself in that mindset, it makes it so much easier to sit there and reflect and reflect and reflect, or type up data, or, you know, when you realize, like, I'm a better person and my kids are going to be better learners because of this, it puts it all into perspective. So never forget that.
And you're ready. Like, I feel like I've already been a teacher, and so now I'm like applying for jobs, and like I kind of feel like I have one. But like, you're so ready. Seriously, it was like I can't believe how much I've grown over this semester, and I had so much fun. So you're going to